And my RSD will jump on any perception that I've failed. And that was one of them. Hi Neurospices. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Michelle, and I was late diagnosed with autism and ADHD in 2023. I've been working out how to live life on the spectrum since then, working out what life is like, unmasking, and working out all the different things that I've experienced over my life and how it all brought me to the point of finally getting the diagnosis. So this past week, I've really been experiencing quite a bit of RSD. For those of you who don't know what RSD is, it stands for Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria. Effectively what happens is over a lifetime of rejection or perceived rejections, you build up a very strong intolerance for it. And a lot of people will do that. A lot of people will feel very sensitive to being rejected. But the rejection side of things, when you're dealing in a neurotypical world and you don't fit in it, and you're trying to fit in it, and you question everything that you do, and you're trying to work on all of your perceptions of how to live. So, for an example, at work, I observe how people do things. I observe the rules and I stick to those rules. When those rules change, or I'm not told of those changes, it makes it really, really difficult for me to try and navigate what on earth is going on. And I question myself, and my self-doubt comes in and it becomes worse. Most recently, I had that episode last week with the way that that client spoke to me, and that was really hard. And I tried to explain to my leader, after getting some more bad news this week, bad news to me, but thankfully he handled it actually really, really well. I felt like an absolute failure. I felt like I'd let the team down. I dropped the ball and there was one particular thing that was missed. But at the end of the day, once he did some investigating, it actually wasn't missed. So we're very task oriented in my job, and we get tasks through a computer system, a software system that we use. And the task has to be closed by a certain date. Well, I brought that date forward before I closed it. But then I got waylaid with a ton of other things. And so whilst it wasn't due until the 11th, I moved it to the 5th, meaning to close it on the 5th, but then got waylaid with a bunch of other things. And as you well know, that's kind of happens for us too, right? Get distracted and work on something else and then forget what we were doing. And so then I didn't close it until the morning of the 6th, which now meant, because I'd changed the date, that effectively I'd shot myself in the foot with it. But he understood that that wasn't, in reality, it wasn't due until the 11th. But on the stats, it shows differently. And it just sent me into a loop. So he explained to me that, it wasn't a failure, we take a learning from it, and that's what we need to do and move on. I actually said to him, because he said, we don't expect people to be 100% perfect all the time, but I actually said, and afterwards on reflection, it probably is true of myself and very unfair to myself, I said that I expect 110 from myself. And that's really been the theme of my life. I've expected so much more of myself than is necessary, and certainly so much more than is achievable. So when I don't meet those measures, I become very upset with myself. When I don't meet what I believe, what my perception of the goal is, I feel like I am a failure. I feel like I don't measure up. And my RSD will jump on any perception that I've failed. And that was one of them. I hadn't actually failed. I just moved a task forward, which nobody else does apparently, so I won't anymore. I did it to try and help manage my workload because I like to do things that are due on the day by the day. So I moved it forward so I would get it done that day, but then got waylaid with other things. Anyway, rejection sensitive dysphoria affects me in lots of different ways. I find that if I message someone, for example, and my understanding is that they will reply within X amount of time and they don't, I start catastrophizing sometimes, depending on what the situation is. But I will start thinking negatively about the reason why they haven't responded, that it's something that I've done, that it's something that is wrong with me. And as a 55-year-old woman, I mean, for goodness sake, stop it. But I still do it. And I'm realizing that it's actually just the way that my brain works, and I need to just be kinder to myself. And I've been working on feeling all of that self-doubt and trying to work on that and catching that when it happens, and working on reminding myself what I'm good at, but also reminding myself that I'm probably putting so much pressure on myself. And that's sort of the main problem for me at the moment, is the pressure to reach very lofty goals. I love having lofty goals, that's great, but I need to be realistic about the steps that I'm taking towards those. I actually was invited up the coast. Where I live is in Brisbane in Australia, and some girlfriends invited me up to the Sunshine Coast. They were away for the weekend, and I was able to join them for a day and a half. And after that week, it was just the perfect tonic. We laughed, we played games, we did crafts, we drank, of course. It was really, really lovely, and it's so good to have such great friends in my life who get me and who are there for me. We've actually started a new thing too called the Wednesday Waffle. Saw it on social media, where a bunch of guys, I think it's 3 or 4 guys, they basically send themselves each into a group, a 1 to 2 minute video of where they're up to in the week, just to keep in touch with each other and, just share, I guess. And we've started that. So we did our 2nd week of that yesterday, and it's really nice. It's nice just to connect, not just, send messages, but, to actually see them and see how they're actually doing. And then from there, organise get-togethers and spend some time together. So I really, really enjoyed that.